Lou here. A few days ago, at the time this video was being written, the Cowboy Bebop live-action series came out. I thought about doing a review of the live-action Cowboy Bebop. So roll the intro and let's get started. Now, before we start, many of you might not know this series for one reason or another. I mean, not many people are 24 like myself and remember brief reruns on Toonami or Spike Spiegel and Ed cosplays at conventions, you know? So, Cowboy Bebop is an anime created by Shinichiro Watanabe in April 1998. Apparently, when it first aired in Japan, many episodes were skipped, followed by a recap episode. Apparently, it was heavily censored in Japan as many characters smoke, as seen with the infamous censorship of JoJo's Part 3, which also featured characters smoking heavily. Apparently, there's some kind of weird censorship in Japan where you're actually not supposed to show characters smoking or something. Despite this messy launch, Cowboy Bebop received massive critical acclaim, but its launch in America is where the series really packed a punch. Thanks to Adult Swim's anime block in the early 2000s, the series became massively successful here in the US. Sure, it wasn't Naruto or My Hero Academia's success, but let me tell you that it was extremely popular. It also helped that it would air multiple times since 2001. Starting in 2007, actually, it would air once a year, so that's actually really cool to see the show repeatedly air like that. Not even Inuyasha or Fullmetal Alchemist get that kind of treatment, from when I last looked at Adult Swim anyway. Thanks to this overwhelming critical reception, the series would eventually receive a Netflix adaptation the way many other famous anime would. As recently, Netflix announced that One Piece is getting a live-action treatment, so good luck, One Piece fans. The adaptation was announced around 2019 and was delayed twice. Once following an injury by Spike's actor John Cho on set during an action sequence, and again in 2020 due to the pandemic. It would finally release on November 19th, 2021 to some mixed reception. Some said it was a soulless remake trying to be a comedy, while others praised it as a fresh take on the same characters we know and love. Let's see if Cowboy Bebop's Netflix remake is Death Note all over again, or something that can maybe measure up to the original at least a little. Spoiler warning for both series, by the way. While on paper the story is the same, Spike Spiegel, Jet, Faye, and Ein are bounty hunters in a dystopian space society and barely making by while all the while their traumatic past slowly catch up to each of them. Where it differs in how it tells those stories through the tone. The anime takes a methodical and wonderfully slow approach to telling the story in each episode, and its backstories for the characters. Each episode feels like a delicate brushstroke to a big masterpiece. The Netflix series? It takes a more comedic tone. I don't really know how to describe the way it was written, but it feels like a rejected script the director Joss Whedon wrote in 2005, and someone trying to capitalize off the Speed Racer movie found it in a dumpster and tried to get it greenlit for 10 years. The comedy sometimes honestly feels like someone watched Thor Ragnarok and tried to copy the jokes without actually thinking beyond that. Though I won't lie, the cafe scene in particular that Netflix put on their Twitter feels like an actual conversation I've had with friends, so I like how natural the characters react to each other. Even if no one in the cast knows what Cowboy Bebop is, because I genuinely don't know, they play off each other really well and have amazing chemistry between them. In particular, Jet and Spike react a lot more like friends openly. I mean, obviously they're friends in the anime too, but the Cowboy Bebop anime is emotional repression due to trauma. The anime, so it's not easy to notice those details of friendship in the anime if you're not paying attention. Though one of the major changes between the anime is the backstories actually. Jet has a daughter in a previous relationship now, Julia and Vicious are actually married, and more. I don't mind these changes, it's actually kind of cute to see Jet as a dad since everyone always makes jokes about how Jet was the dad of Bebop. A lot of people saw an issue with that, but I was cool with Jet being a dad. What I absolutely fucking hated though was the live action show reminding us of Spike's past every 10 minutes like we're fucking idiots, and in an attempt to pad out time as every episode is now stretched to an hour instead of 25 minutes. I get it though, this is for dumb people who want to be reminded of the plot every 5 minutes. It also sucks that they watered down Julia's character a lot for a domestic violence storyline. While she was dating Vicious, I mean duh, that's how this whole plot started, it feels like a bummer to water her down that she was also a member of the Mafia to be kinda just like, ooh woo dream girl, where's my Spike dream boy, instead of this sweet but secretly badass woman. I mean, remember Spike's line?
I love the kind of woman that can kick my ass.
Though I will praise the show for showing Vicious to be an actual dick to Julia and other people. I've come across way too many I can change him fanfics for Vicious, and fam, I don't care how pretty he is in the anime, you can't change him, fam. So thank goodness they actually showed him being a shitty human being. Even if that shitty human being is just a man-child, but hey, I'll take that instead of trying to make Vicious a husbando for people because they totally could have gone that route. Another thing I was not a fan of was the way they handled Faye. I know Faye is supposed to be bitchy, at least a little, but man, they turned up the bitch factor completely on her character in this show. I don't know if they thought to give her a comedic role or what, but it was sad to see when I really liked Faye's character the more she hung out with the Bebop crew and actually tore down her walls. Overall, sometimes the writing is okay, and I'm fine with some changes, but others are just complete bullshit, like watering down a lot of the female characters. Especially Julia. My gosh, I felt so bad for how poorly written Julia was in this series. Don't get me started on Ed either. Her dialogue sounds literally like a TikTok cosplayer to one of those My Little Pony songs. No offense to the actor, by the way, as I've heard they wanted to tone down the performance. Just the way the director did Ed was so damn bad. This series has a very unique visual to me. Lots of slow-mo shots, lots of action scenes that were okay, but for some reason a heavy reliance on Dutch tilts. Kinda feels like that thing in the early 2000s that movies did where directors were just learning what Dutch tilts were, so every fucking scene was a Dutch tilt. At least I'll play devil's advocate here for a second and say that it is better than other adaptations that usually have some pretty lame composition. Major props for some really cool transitions though. There were some slick transitions here and there. Though I will add that there's a weird 70s flair to everything. Outside of the obvious reoccurring cast we know and love, a lot of the characters look like they dressed straight out of the 70s, and I kinda like it. I don't know if Cowboy Bebop has a 70s influence since the 90s anime pretty much bled 90s, but I like the approach here. As for adapting anime characters into real life, I think everyone but Vicious looks pretty good. Vicious, though, he does look a little ridiculous, being this British man who looks all serious but with short white hair. It kinda looks like he wanted to take his Sephiroth cosplay to the next level. Everyone else looks great though, especially Jet, Faye, and even Julia. Honestly, a lot of the cast looks like how I'd picture them to look in real life, so I thought that was really neat. Spike in particular, I want to give praise for doing something else with his hair, because there was no possible way that hairstyle in the original anime was gonna look good in a live-action format, unless we want to see Dragon Ball Evolution all over again. No shame to Smart Doll, by the way, but if anyone has seen the Spike Spiegel Smart Doll, then we all know exactly why making a real-life adaptation of Spike's hair is a really bad idea. Same with Faye's outfit. I know a lot of guys online got mad about it, but I love the way it looks. The argument was that a human being can totally wear Faye's outfit because cosplay exists, but I don't think people realize the difference between a photo shoot where you can pose and Photoshop everything, and acting where you have to do possible action stunts in that outfit. Great for cosplay, not exactly ethical for a TV show, especially when the goal is to do as little reshoots and adjustments as possible. Overall, the filming of the visuals is wonky as hell, but I give it major praise for set design and costuming. I really love the costuming for this series. The acting was pretty damn good. I mean, I literally cannot fault the actors here. Sometimes you're given a script you may not agree with and you kinda just have to sigh and do it because that's acting. Obviously, it's not Daniela Pineda's fault that Faye Valentine comes across as a bitch. Nah, who's really at fault here is the director and higher-ups with Netflix, who's, made that kind of decision, so I don't really blame the actors at all. And I definitely don't think anybody watching this video should go out and harass the actors. It's not their fault if the director made poor decisions. The actors all do a really good job with chemistry here, and at least they tried their best. I am giving major props to John Cho and Mustafa Shakir because they were the best actors for Spike and Jet respectively. Like, I really loved both of their roles and their chemistry was wonderful. Honestly, a lot of their dialogue together was the saving grace for watching this weird remake. As for Ed, now, we've only seen 1 full minute of Ed's acting, so I can't fault the actor. They're trying with the material they were given, and what's forced on them. But my gosh, this approach to Ed was just bad. Way too overacted in my opinion, where it comes across honestly cringy and fake. In fact, a lot of the child actors feel that way, but that's child acting overall, and it's rare to get a really good child actor anyway, and Ed is a character that is extremely hard to pull off in a live-action format. If you ask me, I think the director and higher-ups should have taken Ed's actor's advice and toned down Ed. Maybe find something else to compensate for the fact that Ed had to be toned down. I mean, this series isn't exactly afraid to make complete character change, so... Also, all the rich people or mafia people in the galaxy are British now, so that's a thing. I guess you gotta find some way to show someone's rich and fancy for dummies watching. Overall, the acting was pretty good to me, but the child actors weren't that great. But I'm not blaming the kids here, just the directors in suits at Netflix for shitty decisions. Anime adaptations fall on a scale to me. You either get really good and well-made adaptations like Alita Battle Angel and Speed Racer, then you get absolute shit like Death Note and Dragon Ball. I'd say this is like somewhere in the middle. Yes, it ruined many of my favorite Cowboy Bebop episodes, arranged them out of order, and completely fucked up the pacing of the original anime, but it could have been worse. This wasn't terrible, solely because there were lines I did find really funny, the costuming is really good, and I love the casting, but it's also not amazing either. I'd say it's meh. Please don't watch this if you want to experience Cowboy Bebop for the first time though. Watch the original anime series on Netflix already, or Hulu if you don't have Netflix, and then watch the live-action series if you're curious for how it handled certain scenes. Though if you're someone who doesn't take shows seriously and just want to watch something I call half-paying attention shows and movies, then I'd say go ahead. It can be a good show to binge if you know full well you're not going to pay attention to the entire thing. I obviously didn't do that, but sometimes I wish I did for the episodes they fucked up. Let me know down below though, do you love Cowboy Bebop? Do you love the Netflix adaptation? As always, let me know down below. Hey guys, thanks for watching! If you liked the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you're new. If any of you would like to help support my channel in any possible way, my Ko-fi page is down below in the description, along with all of my social media. For any subscribers, new or old, who'd like to help with video ideas, or maybe just want to talk about anime or something, I have a fan server linked down below. See you next time!